Okay, people. So, first of all, let's look at the date here. Do you see that? It's an anniversary. I wouldn't consider this to be my birthday, people. This is more like an anniversary. This is February 20th, 2019. Okay. If you look here, it says February of 2015. The last time I seen John was February 19th, 2015, and we were discussing for me to contact a lawyer that we knew that helped us with Andre to see if we could get some help with what was going on with Uncle John. I have video on that, people. Lawyer is lurking. Okay. This is the day, supposedly, after Eleanor was spying on us, because we were in Uncle John's room. She ran off to the bank after she got John's signature. She got John's signature on the 20th and then ran off to the bank. But this is a woman that lives in Victoria. So she was either lurking around in the halls on the 19th and peeking around the corners, watching and listening with her spyware with the staff. And then when I left, she showed up the next day, got John to sign a power of attorney, revoked my power of attorney, and then went to the bank, gave it to the bank, right? So that by the time I went to go pay bills or do whatever, because I paid some bills on the 19th, and then I went to go pay bills before or after, I don't remember now. It was either before or after, on the 23rd when I went back to go see Uncle John. Now, the reason I'm doing it this way, people, is because after this I'm going to take you to my sewing table and I'm going to show you something. Okay? Because the staff were, again, like I said, accusing me. Hold on a minute. They were accusing me of, what do you call it? Abusing Uncle John. They weren't being specific about what I was abusing Uncle John with. They were just, it was rumorville through the halls, so everybody had attitude with me. Nurses be scowling at my kids and shit. One was picking a fight with ShaMay. So the tensions were really, really high because you have to remember, Uncle John was confused. Right? He wasn't confused when they said he agreed to go to convalescent care. But as soon as he started saying, no, I don't want to go, then he became confused. And the staff became very aggressive and very hostile and very retaliating. Okay? And made everybody feel very uncomfortable. So anyway, I came in on the 23rd and with Andre in the afternoon, around 1, 2, or whatever it was. As soon as I went into John's room, there was a group of people by his bed with the curtain pulled, but I could see the people, and I seen the hammock. And as I stood there, a woman turned around, because I said, "Where's John?" I didn't scream it out, loud. I just said, "Where's John?" Because I'm by the door. So, "Where's John?" Right? And the woman turned around, and she said, oh, you're being disrespectful. Blah, you're being loud or something stupid like that. And I'm like, whatever. I didn't want to go look, people. I had my grandson with me. That woman was accusing me of being loud when I simply asked where John was. But it was enough to distract me and then have me go straight down to the doctor's station to ask to see who released John. And there was a doctor standing there, some white dude, which is unusual for where I live, because a lot of the doctors, they come from different countries. Anyway, he said, "Who signed out John?" Because I said, "Where's John? John's been, John's not there." Like, where? They said he's gone. Because they said it wasn't John. It wasn't John that was in that hammock, which is a bunch of fucking bullshit, people. Okay? Because what I'm going to show you is that woman called on the 23rd his credit card to access his bank. Right? Because I don't think I did any banking until I went to go see John. It was go to the bank, pay bills, to go and then go see John to talk about the lawyer that we were going to get. Because we did a video on the 19th talking about getting a lawyer. But they took him out between the 20th and the 23rd. But in light of me walking in with that same hammock with a woman, what are you doing? You're being rude and disrespectful. Can't you see? No, that's not John. Oh, okay. Well, where's John? John's not here. What do you mean John's not here? He's been released. Well, who released him, doctor? Who released him? Then they wanted to call the social worker. And with that social worker screeching and playing games and doing all the bad things that she did to my family, the last thing I wanted to do was go talk to a fucking social worker that wanted to put John in some country home up on the fucking island that he's never been. By any means necessary, people. Have it in her own words. By any means necessary. Yeah, by any means necessary. I'll show you by any means necessary. So, this woman came in the next day after spying on Uncle John and I, which is illegal under their mandates in terms of their rules, regulations, and acts. Right? And she managed to strong-arm John into signing a new power of attorney all of a sudden out of the blue. And then she zipped into her vehicle and drove off to the bank and gave it to the teller, I guess. Who did she give it to, people? Right? And then went and got John and took him on the ferry, we'll just say on the 20th. And then decided on Monday, the 23rd, to call up his credit card. But isn't it interesting how she got the bank information? That's because she put a change of address in illegally. And that's why they were hanging on to him, people. And I can prove this to you. That's why they were hanging on to him, because they needed the time for the mail to be transferred so that eventually, people, she would get something of pertinence like his bank statement. So that once she got the bank statement, she knew the account and she knew what bank to call. The only thing is, the only bank statement that John ever really got was, what do you call it? His dividend credit card bank statement. That was it. That's why she called that. Right? So they probably backdated that power of attorney being revoked to the 20th, when in fact, the only way she got into his bank account was first by mail fraud, by transferring his mail over illegally, and then once she got the pertinent information, she made the phone call. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, more than likely, it was her husband who impersonated John and said, yeah, talk to my wife. Because you have to remember, by this time, John's in the hospital really, really sick. Right? He's dying. We've got Cheryl on the phone with ShaMay telling how it happened. He got off the ferry and they had to rush him to emergency. But all of a sudden, on the 23rd, he's calling up his credit card and saying, talk to my sister. And then go back into be almost comatose, in a coma from shock. Right? Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to show you this because I don't want to leave this running for too long because it's taking up a lot of my time. Okay, actually what takes up a lot of my time, people, is depression. This stuff really, really, really depresses me. Okay, so I'm going to take you into some documents here. Documents that the court doesn't want to look at. Okay? This is what judges get paid to look at. But for some reason in the province of British Columbia, Canada, they don't want to look at it. So, this is how we're going to do it. All right, do you see that? Okay. Do you see the date? Where is it? February 25th, 2015. That is a, what do you call that? Registered mail. That's what I got that little note in. This here is proof of mail fraud. Okay? John never authorized having his mail delivered to his sister's house. Okay? If you look on the date here, this is what's written in these days. Okay, I've written this stuff down in those things. If you look at the date here, where is it? Where's my finger? Here we go. Okay. It is good until July 4th. It's good for 6 months, people. February, March, April, May, June, July. How does this work? Hold on a minute. Okay, so we're going to take a little detour here. So, from February 4th, right? This is when she transferred the mail. When he went into the temporary care ward, that's when because they were conspiring. They were trying to figure out how to get him. They thought they could muscle me into signing him away. And he said, don't do it, so I didn't. Right, people? And so once he got into that temporary care ward, a change of address was put in. If you see, that's his name. This is a change of address from the post office. They put it in February 4th. So that means he was sitting up at the Yale Road Center, right? So February 4th. So you'd go February, March, April, May, June, July, and then August. So February to March is 1, March to February, March. Oh, anyway, it works out to 6 months, right? And then, hold on a minute. Okay. You can see. That's the month, February. Expires. Sorry. 2015. This just makes me so mad, people. In July to the 4th. 4th of July. February 4th, March. 6 months. She made a phone call, like I said. This was sent to me on the 25th. We have that right there. It was written on supposedly the 20th. His mail was illegally transferred in February on the 4th. So by the 23rd, what happened, people, is she got, because if you notice these dates, okay, they're not lining up, right? This is when she went to the bank and gave the bank them this with John's signature. Okay? If you notice, nothing here shows John's signature, just her signature. That's what she went to the bank with something with John's signature. And the bank approved this. They say this is a legal document. But the thing is, she had to call the bank on the 23rd. Remember, on Monday? The day I think that they took him out of there. Right? And And he was either in the hospital, severely, really sick, or he was on the ferry drinking tea and calling up his credit card. And I've said this in a past video, people. Look at the date. Okay. Further to your recent conversation, which would have happened on that day, we wish to confirm that based on your one-time only verbal authorization, Eleanor Gilding will be authorized to speak to CIBC with respect to the above caption matter. She had to wait for his dividend credit card statement to come in. See, this is what the bank doesn't want. This is what the courts don't want to look at. They don't want to look at this stuff, people. Right? These are all dead accounts now. Uncle John is gone too. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so now, that's how she got into his bank. And when we get up into this, what I wrote, this little first section under legal basis, I get up into the, what is it called? The provincial legislated acts, rules and regulations and that kind of stuff. See, there's the Power of Attorney Act. Right? And of course, I don't know what I'm doing, so I take the time to type the stuff out, hoping that I'll remember what I'm typing, so that as I'm reading it, I understand. So that when I have to talk about it, I understand. And then I have to bring out certain sections within the legislative acts, like in this section, it's chapter 370. It goes on, and I write it down for convenience, so that we don't all have to go to another book. Unless, of course, we want to clarify what's being said there in terms of gospel when it comes to those particular sections. See, section 36, court direction and orders, right? And then I write down in terms of what was applicable, right? In terms of the numbers. Some things were applicable, some things were not, right? And then this is duties of the attorney. This is all under the Power of Attorney Act, people. Right? Court directions. Duties of attorney. That's section 19. Section 35. Investigation by public guardian and trustee. Section 34. Reporting to public guardian and trustee, which they did not do. What else? Just keep talking on here, right? This is section 19, and 19.1 is non-applicable. Obviously, I addressed it, whatever that was. I'm reading right now, care plan. Where are we? This is still the Power of Attorney Act, Residential Care and Regulations, section 81. Administration of medication. This is what they wanted me to bring down to 20 pages. Residential care regulations, section 70. These are the sections that they broke. Restrictions of use of restraints. There's these sections. Section 73, 74, 75. Relates to the care plan. Then I go into breaking it up into more sections, because I took the time to read the sections. When restraints may be used, types of different restraints that are used, reassessments, things that they didn't do, people, and if they did it wrong, with the intent to harm and injure. Restrictions on use of restraints, when restraints may be used, and then there's more. Definition exemptions of other matters. Definitions. Of course, I'm trying to educate myself as I go along. This is another section. Residential care regulations. All these various sections. Right? This is what Fraser Health Authority is supposed to be monitoring, people, and they don't. Monitoring, signaling, and communications, equipment and furnishing, character and skill requirements, continuing monitoring of employees, staff coverage, general health and hygiene, identification of person in care off-site, which they did not care to do for Uncle John, access to persons in care, release or removal of persons in care, dispute resolutions, notification of illness or injury, reportable incidences, records for each person in care. And if you notice all the little sections, people, and then there's more. Right? And then I give definition. So that if you get overwhelmed, it's not that hard to get back on fucking track. Rights of adult persons in care. There we go again. This is under the Community Care and Assisted Living Act under Section 7. Is mandated by law. Do you see that? Rights of adult persons in care. And then there's other things here. And then the Adult Guardianship Act, presumption of capability. And it just goes on, people. And now we're in the Criminal Code of Canada. I went in here looking to find mail fraud, but I can't find it right now. There's too many of them to count in here. Fraudulent transactions, falsification of books and documents, fraudulent transactions, forgery of trademarks and trade description, fraudulent transactions, offenses, passing off, punishment, breach of contract, intimidation and discrimination against trade unionists, fraudulent transactions, secret commissions, fraudulent transactions, interpretation, willful and forbidden acts. And of course, there's different sections, don't forget. There's 428. There's the property, and property means real or personal corporeal property. These are the crimes that were perpetrated against Uncle John. Mischief and willful and forbidden acts. Mischief. See, I took the time to write it out. Right? Where it was applicable. Interpretation, proceeds of crime. This is why they sent me to the cops. Offense, proceeds of crime. Cops already know, though. That's the problem. They already know. And then, of course, just a reminder of what you're reading. So that if you get confused, you can quickly look it up and get back on track. Right? Because it can get pretty fucking overwhelming pretty freaking fast. Okay, so here we go. Finish this. She phoned after she got John's dividend credit card bank statement because she illegally transferred his mail on February 4th after he was moved to the Yale Road Center because they were stalling for time. They needed to find out where his bank was. Right? And once they got it, that was it. It was done. It was done because that was her way in, people. Here, this is a letter being addressed to me when I phoned, but this is what I want to show you. December 11, 2014, same situation regarding the credit card. Further to your recent conversation with our office, we wish to confirm that based on your one-time only verbal authorization, Judy Chorney will be authorized to speak to CIBC in respect to the above captioned matter. It's the exact same thing that Eleanor did when she decided she wanted to break into John's bank account. And the healthcare system was just buying her time so she could do it. And then, just to show you, here's another one, December 14, 2013. This one was in December 11th of 2014, and it reads in the same way. There it is, credit card. Further to your recent conversation with our office, we wish to confirm that based on your one-time only verbal authorization, Judy Chorney will be authorized to speak. Right. What's this one? Oh, another one. December 16th, 2013. When was this one? December 16th. 2 different bank statements, but read the same letter. Right? Regarding the credit card. Right? Oh, no. Here we were behind on a payment. And they sent us this. So obviously I phoned. Because they date it from the time you call, on the day that you call. We got the letter. I called. They dated it from the time you called. So that's how I know this person called on that date. Even though she was running around to the bank, putting in power of attorney, right before she took John to the hospital, and he showed up across the other side, all so sick that he ended up in the Victoria General Hospital and lost his brains there.